Most project managers use ChatGPT for the odd email, but you can run an entire project through it, from the charter on day one to the closure report at the end. In the next 15 minutes, I'll take you through the exact prompts. In order for every phase of the project lifecycle, still all of them free at the end. It starts with 2 minutes of setup, then 5 stages: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling, and closing. We'll run through every prompt phase by phase. Watch the bar at the bottom to see exactly where we are. First, setup. 2 minutes here beats any clever prompt later. You give ChatGPT a fixed role and your project's context once. Paste this setup prompt first. The only parts you change are highlighted: your project's name, what it delivers, the sponsor, the dates, the budget, and the team. Everything else stays exactly as it is. Then send it. And ChatGPT plays your whole project straight back to you. That read back is your signal the setup landed, and every answer after this one comes back sharper. Next, initiating. This is where you agree why the project exists and who actually cares, starting with a charter that authorizes you to begin. Now the charter. Ask for a 1-page project charter and paste in whatever you already have: a brief, an email, a few bullets, into the highlighted part. That's the only bit you change. Then send it. It comes back fully structured. Purpose, smart objectives, scope, milestones, budget, and roles. And here's the clever part. Wherever it doesn't have enough detail, it writes needs input instead of inventing a number. That's exactly the habit you want from it. Now make those objectives earn their place. Ask ChatGPT to check each one. Is it genuinely specific and measurable? And to rewrite the weak ones. Then send. It grades every objective, sharpens the vague ones into something you can actually measure, and then hands you a single sentence to justify the whole project to a skeptical sponsor who only cares about cost, benefit, and risk. That one line is gold in a steering meeting. Then the stakeholder register. Ask for it as a table: who they are, what they care about, their influence, their interest, and how to engage each one. Then send. You get the full grid ranked with the communication frequency for each. And the bit that earns its keep, it flags the people you have probably forgotten, the ones who quietly sink projects when they're left off the list. Now planning. This is where the charter becomes something you can actually run against: scope, schedule, budget, risks, and comms, each one built from the last. Start with the work breakdown structure. Ask ChatGPT to break your scope into 4 to 8 work streams, with the work packages under each, small enough to hand to one person. Then send. It returns a clean numbered breakdown: discovery, configuration, data migration, integrations, training, and go-live. And crucially, it flags what usually gets underestimated. On this project, that's the data cleanse and the training, the 2 things that always run long. Turn that straight into a schedule. Ask for a table, task, what it depends on, duration, owner, and whether it's a milestone. And tell it to mark the critical path, then send. You get an ordered schedule with dependencies mapped, the critical path called out, and a realistic finish date, with the working assumptions stated so you can check them rather than take them on faith. Now the first cut budget, grouped by work stream. Ask for cost items, the basis of each estimate, a contingency line it explains, and a total. Then send. Every number comes back labeled an estimate. Licenses, consultant days, migration, training, contingency are landing under your 60,000 cap, and it lists the top 3 things most likely to blow the budget, so you're watching the right lines from day one. The risk register is where projects are really won or lost. Ask for risks written as cause, event, effect, scored, with a response and an owner for each, and tell it to include the boring, overlooked ones. Then send. It ranks them higher score first. Dirty data, low adoption, a single consultant as a bottleneck. Real risks for this project, each with a mitigation and a name against it. Finally, the communication and governance plan straight off the stakeholder register. Ask who needs to know what, in what format, how often, plus a light governance structure. Then send. You get a clean comms table and a right-sized governance model. 1 weekly check-in, a weekly note to the sponsor, 1 decision gate. No theater. Just enough control for a project this size. Now executing. The plan's set. This is where ChatGPT becomes your drafting engine. Kickoffs, briefs, chases, meetings, and the problems that always come up. Start with the kickoff pack. Ask for a 30-minute agenda, a half-page summary to send round beforehand, and the 5 things everyone must leave agreed on. Then send. You get a tight agenda, a pre-read you can drop straight into an email, and 5 crisp alignment points. So your kickoff actually aligns people instead of just filling half an hour. For any work package, get a clean brief. Give it the task, here, the data cleanse, and ask for the outcome, why it matters, the steps, what good looks like, and the deadline. Then send. It comes back as a proper brief with a clear definition of done. Something you can paste straight into an email or a ticket and hand over, with no ambiguity about what finished means. When you need to chase someone, don't agonize over the wording. Describe the situation and ask for 2 versions. One warm, one firmer, then send. You get both, ready to go. A friendly nudge and a firmer escalation. You pick the register the moment needs, and you've spent 10 seconds, not 10 minutes, rewriting the same email. This one's a quiet superpower. Give it your meeting agenda, then afterwards paste in your rough notes, then send. It turns the mess into clean minutes. A short summary, a decisions log, and an action list with an owner and a due date against every item. The admin that eats your evenings done in seconds. And when something breaks, and it will, this is the prompt to keep. Describe the problem and ask for the likely root cause. 3 options with trade-offs, a recommendation, and who to involve. Then send. Here, the consultant's off sick before go live. It gives you a calm, structured second opinion in seconds. Root cause, real options, and a clear call. Exactly what you need when you're under pressure. Monitoring and controlling. This runs alongside the work. Measure against the plan, report honestly, control every change, and keep your risks alive. First, the status report. Paste in your raw update, what's done, what's slipped, spent so far, any issues. Then send. It comes back as a 1-page report a sponsor will actually read. An overall RAG rating with 1 line justifying it, milestones, budget, the top risks, and the decisions you need from them. Honest, structured, and done in seconds. For the numbers, ask it to compare against baseline and to show it's working. Give it planned versus actual on progress and spend, then send. It tells you plainly whether you're ahead or behind, over or under, and what it means for the finish. But notice, it shows the arithmetic and reminds you to check it. Never send a sponsor a figure you haven't verified yourself. When a change gets requested, assess it properly, describe the change, here, a new reporting dashboard before go live, and ask for the impact on scope, schedule, cost and risk, the options, and a recommendation. Then send. You get a clean assessment and a short change record to put to the sponsor. Here, the recommendation is to defer, protect the date, add it later, a decision, not a guess. And keep that risk register alive, tell it what's changed since you built it, then send. It rescores what's affected, closes the risks that have passed, adds the new ones, and tells you the 2 risks to actually worry about this week and what to do about each. A register that works for you instead of gathering dust in a folder. And finally, closing. The part everyone skips. Finish cleanly. Confirm the work's done and accepted, capture the lessons, hand over, and formally close. Start with a closure checklist. Ask for everything that must be true before you can formally close. Deliverables accepted, sign-offs, invoices settled, documentation handed over, the team released, then send. You get a clean checklist with a done or outstanding column, so nothing quietly slips through the cracks on the way out. Then run a proper lessons learned. Ask for the questions to put to the team, then paste their answers back in, then send. It synthesizes the raw feedback into a themed log, what happened, and a concrete recommendation for next time. That's how hindsight becomes next project's plan instead of the same mistakes on repeat. Now, the closure report. Ask it to pull everything together. Objectives versus delivered, final schedule and budget against baseline outstanding items, and the benefits and how they'll be tracked. Opening with a half-page executive summary. Then send. You get a professional close-out document on 1 page with anything it's missing clearly flagged as needs input. The report everyone dreads, drafted in seconds, and finish like a professional. Ask for 2 things, a handover note to whoever owns it now, and a warm, specific thank you to your team that actually names what they did. Then send. You get a clean handover and a genuine thank you, not a generic one. Because the people who delivered it will remember how you closed it out. Before you go, 10 rules that decide whether any of this actually works. Give it context before you ask for output. That setup prompt is the highest leverage move here. Keep one project in one chat. Never trust its numbers blindly. Check the maths yourself. Make it state its assumptions and correct the wrong ones. Iterate. Don't restart. Ask for tables and templates. Use it as a challenger. What am I missing? Keep confidential detail out. And remember, you are the project manager, not the tool. It drafts and structures. The judgment stays with you. Save the prompts that work, and your kit gets sharper with every project. So there it is, an entire project from initiation to closure run through ChatGPT. Every prompt you just saw is in one free pack. Grab it at pmgts.uk/free/AI prompts. The link's in the description, and go run your next project in half the time.